Good evening. I want to express my gratitude for this opportunity to Mr. Wayne Clough, Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution, and Dr. Jonathan Caddington, Acting Director for Science of the Smithsonian Institute Natural History Museum, Dr. Rubiel Avila, Governor of the State of Mexico, Mexican senators coming from different political parties, ladies and gentlemen. Truly, it is an honor to be with you tonight in this splendid venue, the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, for the premiere of the wonderful film, The Flight of the Butterflies. As Gloria Guevara was saying, I was born in the state of Michoacán, not very far from the forest where the monarch butterflies come year after year. I remember the first time I visited this marvelous site. I was amazed at this impressive spectacle of nature. The oyamel trees literally bend with their weight, making this one of the most magical places to be. It is no wonder that the monarch butterfly reserve has been included in UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites. The migration of millions of these butterflies is one of the most incredible natural phenomena in the world. As you all know, each year these creatures travel over 4,000 kilometers from their homeland in Canada to spend the winter in the mountains of Mexico, like a lot of Canadians and Americans, by the way. Then they return back north. Incredibly, it takes 4 generations for the monarch to make this long and dangerous migration. It was my father who taught me to understand and love the natural wealth of my country and to respect the world. He was a political activist, an idealist, but he was also a true pioneer of environmental issues in Mexico. Back in the 70s, one day he started to talk in a political convention about the risk of global warming and about the prediction that the poles could melt one day. And some of his closer friends started to tell us, I'm sorry about your father, but he's losing his mind. For that time, he used to warn about 2 widening gaps which threat humankind. The gap between man and nature, and the gap between rich and poor. And these are still today the defining challenges of our time. Perhaps our mistake has been to assume that we need to choose between economic prosperity and the conservation of nature. I do believe that it is a false dilemma. I believe, as my father did, that it is possible to promote development today and protect the environment for ourselves and our children. And the answer for that is sustainable development. It's green economy. And that is what we have been doing in Mexico in recent years, and the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve is a fine example. But before I proceed, let me take a moment to remember Frederick and Nora Urquhart, as well as Ken Brugger and Kathy present here today. for whom I have a profound admiration. After a long search, they found the sanctuary in central Mexico back in the 70s. They described the marvel of their first visit to the sanctuary in the National Geographic magazine. Unfortunately, the forests in the area had been threatened by the illegal logging and demand for land. Since the late 70s, the forest area has decreased dramatically. However, thanks to the action we have recently undertaken, the forest loss in the core of the reserve has been stopped. In 2009-2010, 640 acres were lost to illegal logging. 1 year later, by 2010-2011, it was just 1 acre that was lost. And finally, no loss was registered in the 2011-2012 period. And this is the result of a joint effort between federal and local authorities. The remarkable cooperation of environmental NGOs, and most importantly, the communities who have helped to preserve the forest and bravely protect the natural reserve from illegal loggers. In recent years, we have encouraged participatory forest management, an approach through innovative policies which promote conservation and address poverty at the same time. We are providing an income for communities in exchange for the environmental services they provide by preserving the forest. And we are doing this in all of Mexico, in particular with the most extensive environmental services payment program in the world. So, in fact, we are empowering local people as the true custodians of our natural capital. Sustainable tourism is another way of balancing environmental protection with economic development. And we are working hard on several fronts to develop models of ecotourism in sites of great natural beauty like the Sierra Tinqua in the heart of butterfly habitat. In so doing, we not only preserve the forest, but we also provide new and better paid jobs for our people. Today, thousands of tourists, domestic and foreign, visit us year after year to admire the monarchs. More than 700,000 tourists have visited the reserve in the last 6 years and enjoyed this site in a sustainable way. This is becoming a true conservation success story, which will not have been possible without the generous cooperation from environmental NGOs. And I want to thank Lorenzo Rosenzweig, Chair of the Mexican Fund for the Conservation of Nature, for his passionate and professional work during all these years, as well as the WWF and the Carlos Slim Foundation, Pro Natura, and all those who have contributed to preserve this natural heritage. And finally, I want to express my gratitude and congratulate Jonathan Barker of SK Films and to our friends of Sin Sentido Films for capturing this story for all of us. This film will allow nature lovers and the general public to learn much more about the epic journey of these creatures that are so fragile and yet so venturesome. And remarkably, part of the revenues from this film, which we hope will reach millions of people all over the world, will be used to fund the reserve through the Mexican Fund for Nature Conservation. I'm sure that this beautiful documentary will strengthen the efforts to preserve and publicize this wonder of nature. And we hope that after watching this film, you feel compelled to visit the Monarch Sanctuary in Michoacán and Estado de Mexico, which is a gift from nature that we Mexicans treasure. And as we say in the spirit of Mexican hospitality, mi casa es tu casa. We welcome you with open arms in the sanctuary and all over the country. Thank you, and enjoy the film. Thank you.